Hello all, Nix here, welcome to another Legacy video. First of all, I wanted to thank you guys about all the support, the comments and the feedbacks you gave me in my previous video. I wasn't much confident to upload that video because of that microphone problem. But yeah, in the end the league was very nice. And I ended up pairing with some meta decks, so I thought to upload it anyway and go for a more in-depth commentary basically. So yeah, I saw that you really liked that format, and today I'm gonna repeat it. Since in the league you will see today, I did also end up pairing with the new white initiative deck. So yeah, I basically wanted to give as much information as possible how to deal with that deck, so you will have some hints when you will play against them. But also, since many viewers really enjoy watching me play this deck, and they wanted to play Reanimator themselves, I decided to go with this list specifically, which I take it from the Discord Reanimator server. I will leave the link to join that server in the description box below. It is a very nice community, so if you have any question or suggestion, just join the Discord and let us know. I do also jump in sometimes and give my 2 cents on some Reanimator topics when I have time. So yeah, a very nice place to speak about this archetype. By the way, yeah, if you are new to the deck, there is also a very nice primer and sideboard guide written specifically for this deck list. It is written by Darkview and Legacy Brewpub. So yeah, I really wanted to try this deck list because of that. So yeah, the deck list is a pretty stock list. It is a 4-color Reanimator with 8 enablers for Faithless Looting, for Entomb, 12 reanimation spell with 4 reanimate, 4 animate dead and 4 exhume. We have some disruptive spell with 2 Tootsies, 4 grief and 4 unmask. The creatures package is for Griselbrand, 3 Archon of Cruelty and 1 Serra Emissary. There is no Vidis Broker of Blood because of show and tell in the sideboard. Basically, put a Vilis in the battlefield with show and tell is not very good. It is better to put an Archon of Cruelty instead. Basically, Vilis and Archon of Cruelty has the same power level, in my opinion. They both deal with creatures and have some card advantage, so yeah, they're pretty similar. But yeah, Archon of Cruelty is better with Shentel. And yeah, the mana base is pretty stock with 14 lands, 8 black fetch lands, 2 bedland, 1 scrubland, 1 underground sea and 2 basic swamp, and 8 fast mana with 4 Lotus Petal and 4 Dark Ritual. While in the sideboard we have 2 silence to deal with basically storm decks or combo decks in general. It is also very nice to stop cards like Surgical Extraction or Endurance, or just to bait Force of Will or Force of Negation. We have Free Serenity to deal with Leyline of the Void or heavy artifact decks such as 8-cast, Painter, stuff like that. We have 2 Chancellor of the Annex. It is very nice to have it on the play. Basically, it is a Daze effect when you reveal it in your opening hand. But yeah, it is also nice to reanimate it against decks like Doomsday, Storm, even if they usually play Veil of Summer to deal with Chancellor triggers, so pretty annoying. But yeah, in the end it is a very nice card to have in fast combo matchups. Like all spell, you can, even if you are on the draw, you can side it in and have some turn 0 answer to their turn 1 combo. Iona, Shield of Emeria, another very nice card to have against combo decks, but yeah, it is very good against monocolor decks also, like Burn, Pox, decks like that. Free Show and Tell, which is one of the best way to play around the Graveyard Hate. A couple Dismember to deal with annoying creatures such as Elvish Reclaimer, Containment Priest, Magus of the Moon, since we play for color, so a very nice card. And also Wear and Tear. Deal with cards like Chalice of the Void, Grafdigger Cage, Leyline of the Void, stuff like that. So yeah, as you can see, we have no Graveyard Hate cards. Basically against Reanimator and all spell, we will try to combo off before them and try to protect ourselves with Chancellor of the Annex even on the draw, basically. But yeah, as all the sideboard, they are all built to have more answer for your local meta. So yeah, if your meta is full of Reanimator, all spell, decks like graveyard decks like that, having some Fairy Macabre is always nice. So yeah, I think that's all, and I will see you in the games. Okay, first match of the league. I open with a very strong hand. I have the combo with Entomb and Animate Dead. I also have a Griff with a black card to pitch. But yeah, I also have a Faithless Looting to dig and also to put Griselbrand in my graveyard. So I have many ways to play this hand. But yeah, since I am on the draw, yeah, this hand was very solid to play around many things. When you are on the draw, just take your time to analyze your hand and think if you can play around the most common hate in the format. Like your opponent could go turn 1 Chalice of the Void here, but yeah, this hand can easily play around that by just going on discard, put Griselbrand in the graveyard and Animate Dead it in 2 turns. But it can easily also play around Thoughtseize maybe. Thoughtseize would have taken Animate Dead here, since it is my only reanimation spell. But I still have this Faithless Looting to dig for another reanimation spell. So yeah, this hand was pretty solid, and I decided to keep it. So yeah, just take your time and analyze your opening hands very carefully, especially if you are on the draw. So yeah, the opponent leads with Chromox, pitching Qatar Commando into City of Traitors and Elite Spellbinder. Elite Spellbinder is like a Thoughtseize, kinda, but it is not as fatal as a Thoughtseize, since we can just play our cards by playing 2 more mana. So as I said, I will take Animate Dead here, since it is my only reanimation spell in my hand. But yeah, we have many outs, like draw more mana, Dark Ritual, or another reanimation spell. Here I decided to go with Faithless Looting instead of Entomb, because I thought my opponent was on that new white initiative deck. So I thought that they didn't have Graveyard Hate main deck. So yeah, I decided to go with Faithless Looting, try to put this Griselbrand in the graveyard, but also try to find a black card to pitch with this Griff. I did find two very good cards. I didn't want to pitch this Archon of Cruelty with Griff, so I decided to put Archon of Cruelty and Griselbrand in the graveyard. And I decided to use this Entomb as a pitch, since I already have my creatures in the graveyard. As I said, I didn't think they had Graveyard Hate in their main deck. But yeah, I could have easily played around that by pitching Griff instead of Entomb. Here they go with their second Elite Spellbinder, taking my Griff, which was fine. I only had, I had many outs here, like for Dark Ritual, 11 more reanimation spell. So yeah, I did find Dark Ritual to cast this Animated for 4 mana. Cast this as a Zombify basically. So yeah, here I decided to draw only 7 cards. I could have gone draw 7 more, but I would have gone at 2 life. And a top deck of Caracas would have been very annoying. I had a discard spell to attack their unknown top deck. They could have Sword to Plowshares or Solitude or Touch the Spirit Realm. So yeah, I really wanted to find a discard spell with the first draw 7, and I did find it with the Totsis plus Lotus Petal. So I go for this play and still stay high, get life. They indeed had the Touch the Spirit Realm, a very annoying removal spell because it can play around Iona very easily. So yeah, in their turn they didn't find any removal, but yeah, I still had Exhume or Animate Dead for my Archon of Cruelty. Unfortunately, the White Initiative deck is a recent addition to the meta, so in the sideboard guide there isn't this matchup, but yeah, one of the strategy to beat them is to reanimate their creatures by your own, so I decided to go with Dismember to kill their initiative creatures, but it is also nice to destroy Containment Priest. Shentel is kinda bad against them. Totsis is bad because of Chalice of the Void. And yeah, I just put one Warrant here to deal with Leyline of the Void and Chalice of the Void basically. But yeah, I was most scared of Containment Priest. Also on the draw, they could have gone with a turn 1 initiative creature, so yeah, go for Dismember. I thought it was very nice to deal with that. So yeah, here my opponent leads with Urth Saga, which means 1 mana artifact graveyard hate cards. A top deck of Archon was very nice, since I had Faithless Looting as an enabler. But unfortunately my opponent reveals 2 annoying cards with Fairy Macabre and Unleashed Hearts, Also Solitude is very annoying since I have Archon of Cruelty as my target for a reanimation spell. Unfortunately, with this Faithless Look thing, I didn't find another black card to pitch with this Unmask to take their Unleashed Hearts. So yeah, I had to discard a land and a Faithless Looting. Pitch this Archon of Cruelty to take their Unleashed Hearts. I had to keep this Exhume because of that Urza Saga. Urza Saga means that they can tutor for a 1 mana artifact graveyard hate card, but yeah, Exhume can easily play around that if it's not Grafdigger Cage. But yeah, my opponent didn't have to tutor for it, they just top deck in their turn. But yeah, we can still easily play around the Relic of Progenitus. The way to play around a card like Relic of Progenitus, Surgical Extraction or Endurance is to have a creature in the graveyard, and with Exhume, since Exhume doesn't target the creature, you can just cast Exhume. Your opponent will do their stuff like cast Endurance, activate the Relic, I don't know, cast Surgical. But once those effects resolve, with Exhume on the stack, you can cast Entomb in response to your Exhume. So you will end up with a creature on the field. If you watch my other Reanimator videos, you see I did that a lot of time. So yeah, with the Urza Saga tutor trigger, they look for a Chromox. Here I do fetch to play around Pitting Needle, but yeah, they tutor up for Chromox, so they have the white mana they need to play the game more proactively. Imprinting Cantar Commando and go for the White Plum Adventurer. Which is fine, honestly. I have Dismember for that. So maybe drawing a Reanimate or Animate Dead. Here I should have probably Dismember that White Plum Adventurer, but so I could have gone, if I top deck a Reanimate, I could reanimate their piece, so they had to activate the Relic of Progenitus in response. But yeah, I didn't do that. But I also didn't find a Reanimate for their creature. So yeah, I keep this Dismember. So they go for the Forge ability, and in response I can Dismember their creature. Relic of Progenitus is very annoying, since it will exile both graveyards, so even with Animate Dead or Reanimate, I would have end up with no creatures on the field. So yeah, they carefully keep the mana up for the Relic of Progenitus activation. every turn. In the end step they go with Qatar Commando, so they can start to threat my life points with a free 1 creature. Also the trap ability of the dungeon, take 5 life, and in their second main they go for Talia, Guardian of Traben, which is basically a game over since I am at 9 life. Here I tried to go with looting, try to put a creature in the graveyard, but yeah, I basically have no mana to go with Entomb plus Exhume because of that Talia, so yeah, this is a game loss. So yeah, here I adjust my sideboard. Dismember for Containment Priest is no more needed, because I think if we are on the play we should always be as fast as possible, honestly. I could have also take out Serra Emissary, since their removal package is very various. They have Sword to Plowshares, Solitude, and Touch the Spirit Realm, which they are all different types, like instant creature and enchantment. So yeah, Serra Emissary is kinda bad against them. I should have taken Serra Emissary out instead of Griselbrand probably, but in some spots Serra Emissary could be still good against those Stompy decks. If they end up without removals, it can protect us from creature, so we can't die basically. But yeah, also Caracas is very annoying, so I decided to take out a Griselbrand instead. So yeah, as I said, go as fast as possible is probably a game win if they don't have Leyline of the Void. So yeah, I keep a very good 7 hand with the turn 1 combo, and also Grief for their turn 0 answer, like Fairy Macabre maybe. So I decided to lead with Grief, of course, to take their Fairy Macabre, but they didn't had one. They just had a Relic of Progenitus. Which is too low for this hand, because I can just go Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Entomb, and Exhume for Griselbrand, draw 14, rebuild my hand, and yeah, the card advantage is too high to recover for them. Also, a nice strategy is to Grief or Unmask your opponent, take their initiative creature and reanimate it by yourself. It is a very nice way to play around the Leyline of the Void, but it can also ruin their game plan, basically. So yeah, here I go for Griselbrand, draw my 14 cards, and yeah, this is basically game over. Okay, here we are in the second match of the league. We are against Monsiyama. This time we are on the play, and yeah, I decided to keep a turn 1 hand with Archon of Cruelty. Archon of Cruelty is kinda bad as a turn 1 because of Sword to Plowshares. Sword to Plowshare has become more and more popular as a removal in these days in the meta, because of Murktide Regent. So yeah, Sword to Plowshares is basically the best removal at the moment in the Legacy meta. But yeah, I decided to go for it anyway. In the blind, if you have a turn 1, just go for it. Since your opponent need to have a turn 0 answer for your combo, like Force of Will, Endurance, Force of Negation, stuff like that. But the odds are at your side, basically, because your opponent need to play first, they need to play those cards in their deck, but they also need to have them in their hand. So even if they have in their deck, they need to have them in their hand. So the odds are very good for us to combo off game 1 without problems. So yeah, here I go with turn 1 Archon of Cruelty, as I said. They discard a City of Traitors. I top deck a very nice Unmask, so I can see what my opponent is playing. And this is another white initiative deck. So yeah, I decided to take their initiative piece. They can go Chrommox, Ancient Tomb, play their cards. I mean, a top deck of a removal spell would have been very annoying, but Chalice of the Void means they don't play Sword to Plowshares in their main, at least I guessed. So their only top deck were Solitude and Touch the Spirit Realm at this point. I could have taken Chrommox probably, but yeah, they still had the white land. So yeah, I had to dodge the removal top deck in any way. But yeah, discarding Season Dungeon means a top deck of Animated Dead was a good top deck. So I can Animate Dead their creature and get the initiative going on. So yeah, they didn't find any removal spell in 2 draw steps, so they basically conceded the game. So yeah, here I go with Serenity for Leyline of the Void, and a couple Dismember for Containment Priest. Show and Tell is kinda bad since they play a lot of removal effect like Solitude, Touch the Spirit Realm, Palace Jailer, cards like that. So yeah, probably the right sideboard is 2 Dismember and 2 Serenity with this deck list, at least, I mean. You know, the White Initiative is a recent addition to the meta, so as I said in the match before, they could have many options to choose from, like Leyline of the Void, Fairy Macabre, and Lich of Shadhars. It is a very versatile deck, so they can choose whatever they want. So yeah, as I said, if you win game 1, just play game 2 to analyze their sideboard, so you can prepare for game 3 better. So they go for turn 1 Chalice, which is very annoying, since it stops my whole hand. I could have kept my Exhume, but I decided not to, since I wanted to go with Grief plus Reanimate on their piece, and still have a Reanimate for my Grief, basically. If they had, I don't know, Fairy Macabre or stuff like that. I didn't think of Chalice of the Void, honestly. But yeah, since they were on the play, it is a card they could keep in their 7. So yeah, here I draw more 1 mana spell cards. But yeah, at least I could top deck a Serenity at any moment to deal with their stuff, basically. Here I fetch in their end step, just to thin the deck a little bit more, take out 1 land. Increase the chance to hit a Serenity from top of my deck by thinning the deck. But I top deck a land, sadly. Untitled Peacekeeper is fine. It is a free bitter, but yeah, I still need Serenity. I mean, it's not a immediately lethal threat, so I still have time to find a Serenity to deal with their Chalice of the Void. Here they correctly name Serenity. And I still draw 1 mana value cards, unfortunately. Here they play all their lands, so they can cast Solitude to increase the clock. A top deck of land is fine, so I can cast Serenity, since it cost me 2 more mana. But yeah, this Solitude makes their clock 6 damage every turn, so I will go down to 8 life here, even if I draw Serenity. Well, I have Faithless Looting, but yeah, I didn't find Serenity anyway, so I had to concede here. Okay, so no Containment Priest, so I take out the Dismember, put in Exhume and my 3rd Serenity, so I can deal with their Leyline or Artifact Graveyard Hate cards, and with 12 Reanimation increase the chances to hit a turn 1 hand. So yeah, here I keep a hand with Grief. In game 2 and game 3 always keep hands with discard spell, basically. So they show me a hand without any Graveyard Hate, so I decided to take their mana. I mean, they had a turn 1 Talia which is very annoying, but without Lotus Petal they can't do anything. So yeah, here I lead with Faithless Looting. I luckily find a Reanimate. But with Reanimate I can only draw 7 cards one time. They also have Solitude to remove my creature here. So very annoying. But at least I can refill my hand. Here I did find Serenity, which is kinda nice. If they top deck a 1-mana artifact, Graveyard Hate. But I also find the triple Unmask. I would have liked to cast to Unmask, since I can take their White Plume Adventurer and reanimate it with this Lotus Petal. But they also have Solitude here, so they can exile it. I thought for a while for this play I wanted to pass the turn, but then yeah, I decided to go for the Unmask plus Reanimate plan, since the initiative strategy is a very good engine. So yeah, basically they had to remove this creature with Solitude and they end up with only 1 place in their hand. But yeah, since I have the initiative, I can start to do things without have cards to play, basically. So this is a very insane engine, honestly. Now I understand why people really like this deck. You just need to play a creature and you do stuff without playing the game. It's a crazy thing. So yeah, here I decided to go with Lost Well, Scry 2. I did find 2 Reanimate. Reanimate 1 Griff. So even if they find a creature, Griff has manas, and I can always steal their initiative, basically. So yeah, Arena does nothing in this board state, so I decided to go with Stash and get a treasure token. Having more mana is always fine. Also, treasure tokens are crazy. It's just like making Lotus Petal. I don't know, the power level of this game always increase every time, which is good, but this means you have to test a lot. So yeah, here I decided to flashback a looting, try to find a creature to reanimate. I did find Griff. But yeah, they defined Elite Spellbinder, which is fine. I can still reanimate Solitude and exile their Elite Spellbinder. I still have Griff to attack their life total. So yeah, this is basically game over. As I said, they use all their resources to deal with my creatures, but yeah, initiative is a crazy engine. I should try those initiative cards by myself, I think. Try the black initiative creature in the mono black reanimator. It will be fun, I think. I should try that. So yeah, last trigger of the dungeon, I find a Griselbrand and a 10/10 Griselbrand with hexproof. Insane, insane. I have no words. Let's go to the next game. Okay, match number 3. Okay, we open with a very nice hand. I have a looting to dig for a creature or an entomb. We are also on the draw. I could have kept that hand, but honestly, I thought my opponent was on lands. I remember their name, so I decided to keep a turn 3 Archon if I did find a Lotus Petal, or a turn 4 Archon if I did find a land. But I was wrong, and my opponent wasn't on lands. Yeah, sadly I predicted it wrong, and this keep is gonna cost me the game. That's why you should look for if you play on Magic Online, you can look for your opponent's name on Magic Goldfish and see their result. So if you find their deck, you can decide to keep what hands to keep. I usually don't do that, and yeah, I'm gonna lose this game because I thought they were on lands. Basically, if you cast Archon of Cruelty against lands, they can't win the game, so here they go with a nice combo. Mishra Bubble on them, plus Predict. Here I don't play cards because I want to go on this card. But yeah, looks like an Esper control deck. So as I said, I don't play any cards, go on this card, put Archon of Cruelty in the graveyard, since I want to reanimate it and also destroy the Teferi. But unfortunately they also have a Baleful Strix. So they can choose to sacrifice the Strix instead of Teferi, and can easily bounce Archon of Cruelty with Teferi. Always keep play the game, even if you are losing, just to gain more information about your opponent's deck. Okay, here they decided to minus the fairy, so I could animate dead here. My Griselbrand. Here, since they had a pause on this Dark Ritual, I probably should have gone with Reanimate first. they could have a force of will here. So yeah, they would have force reanimate, and I could have drawn more cards. But yeah, this is still fine, I think. Unfortunately, I don't find another reanimation spell, but I did find a Griff and a Mask. So I can at least take 2 cards from their hand. Displacer Kitten can easily combo off with Teferi. Brainstorm can find the cards I'm gonna discard. They have a Teferi to bounce my Griselbrand, and also a Sword to Plowshare to exile my creature. So yeah, I decided to take their Displacer Kitten, since they can combo off if they top deck a 0 mana card like Lotus Petal, for example, or a Mishra Bubble, and also their Brainstorm to let them have less option as possible, but they top deck another Brainstorm, unfortunately. I still have that looting to find another reanimation spell, but yeah, they can exile my Griselbrand, they can cast a Teferi and bounce my Griselbrand. They can do many things here. But they decided to plus Teferi and go for Narset instead. Play the fetch. And exile my Griselbrand. Okay, at least I gain 7 life. So yeah, they probably have Teferi in hand. And maybe a Force of Will. This looting is kinda bad, since they have Narset. So yeah, here I take Teferi. Leave them with a Force of Will. But yeah, this is probably a game loss because of that play with Animated Dead instead of Reanimate. Here I draw a Reanimate. I could reanimate the Displacer Kitten, but they can bounce it with the Teferi. I can't reanimate Archon of Cruelty because I am at 7 life. I could reanimate Grief, but still they can bounce it with Teferi. I mean, I do it, but they also have Force of Will in their hand. So yeah, they pay for it anyway. Narset is a very problematic card for Reanimator, since it stops Faithless Looting and Griselbrand. So yeah, this is basically game over. So yeah, looks like my opponent plays a Esper combo deck with Displacer Kitten and Teferi. They can draw their whole deck with that combo basically. So yeah, I decide to go with Show and Tell and Silence. Silence is very nice against Surgical Extraction, Force of Will, Flusterstorm, and Show and Tell can easily play around the Surgical, but I think since they play Esper, they could also have Leyline of the Void. So yeah, I take out Reanimator Dead. Even if it is nice to play around Flusterstorm, here I was deciding if I wanted to take out Exhume or Animate Dead. I mean, Animated Dead can easily play around Flusterstorm, and Exhume can play around Surgical Extraction. But yeah, since they play that Displacer Kitten, which is a card that I want to discard, Exhume becomes a little bit bad. So at the end, I decided to drop a Glyph. This is an interesting hand, but it is very weak against the Surgical Extraction, so I have to mulligan it. Okay, this is much better, since I have a discard spell to attack their hand, see what they have in hand, and I also have the combo, so turn 1 Totsis here is always nice. But yeah, they show me a very annoying hand with a discard spell, double Surgical, and a Force of Negation. I had to take their discard spell here, but I leave them with double Surgical and a Force of Negation. I had to take the Inquisition of Kozilek, their discard spell, since I already have Entomb and Exhume to play around one Surgical. So I basically need to find another discard spell here to take one of their Surgical. But I also had to take that Force of Negation. I also have a Silence to stop them from playing Surgical or Force of Negation, so yeah, first of all, if they have all that Surgical Extraction or Force of Negation, first of all protect your hand, your combo in your hand. Okay, so here I draw Silence, but I don't have the white mana at the moment to cast it. I could have a fetch for a Scrabbled with that Marshflet probably. But yeah. some control decks still play Wasteland, so yeah, here I try to go for it. They have one unknown card, which should have been blue, to pitch with that Force of Negation. But yeah, since they can't cast that Force of Negation by tapping the mana, I decided to go all in anyway. So yeah, let's go Silence into Entomb. Archon of Cruelty is kinda bad, because they can just top deck a Sword to Plowshares. So yeah, here I decide to go with Griselbrand, try to find a more discard spell to attack their hand. Basically just to take their Caldra Complete. But yeah, here I draw Looting, Archon and also Mask, so very nice hits with this Griselbrand. So I can also animate that Archon of Cruelty and then unmask them to take their Caldra Complete. Sword to Plowshares is very annoying, so yeah, I think I thought Sword to Plowshares here. Caldra Complete was fine. Since I am at 9 life, I can take one hit from that thing. So yeah, I decided to remove the Sword to Plowshares, so I could keep my 2 creatures on the field. Here I was thinking if I wanted to draw 7 more cards and keep and still have two creatures to block Caldra Complete, but yeah, I decided to also go with draw 7, take their Caldra Complete, and pass the turn. So yeah. Okay, since I saw that my opponent play a lot of Surgical Extraction, I decided to go with the full set of Exhume instead of Animated Dead. And I also take out 1 Thoughtseize, since I already have 2 Silence. I should have probably take out all the Animated Dead, keep all my discard spell instead. Okay, it is a 7 hand, it's bad, would have lost against a Surgical Extraction. This one was nice, but I didn't have any combo piece, I only had a Silence. So yeah, I decided to keep a 5 hand with Show and Tell and a Griselbrand. I should have keep Unmask instead of Exhume. But yeah, I top deck another Exhume. I decide to keep Exhume to go all in 1 turn, basically. If I top deck a land, I can Exhume plus Show and Tell in the same turn. I mean, I can unmask and Show and Tell in the same turn. So okay, here I did find Dark Ritual, which means I can cast this Show and Tell. So yeah, here I go with Unmask, pitching Exhume. But unfortunately my opponent reveals a triple counterspell. Very annoying. I have to take a Force of Will here. Mystical Dispute is also very annoying since it can counter Show and Tell by paying only 1 mana, unfortunately. So yeah, if they go with Narset here, yeah, they do. I am basically dead since I can't draw with Griselbrand. They can play Teferi, bounce Griselbrand. So yeah, Narset is a very annoying card. Here they also keep finding more counterspell. So yeah, the mulligan to 5 was pretty rough against their triple counterspell hand. And yeah, the more the games goes on, their deck is better built for the late game. So here I try to go with Show and Tell, beta, a Force of Will, but with the kitten on the field, they can flicker the Narset. So I basically wanted to take one of their Force of Will because I wanted to hard cast this Griselbrand, but the kitten plus Narset plus probably Teferi in their next turn is an engine I can't beat anymore. Even with a Griselbrand on the field, I can't draw with it because of Narset, so yeah, I decided to concede. Okay, match number 4 of the league. We are against Solid Snake 408. Looks like they play a Yorion deck with 80 cards. Okay, so let's play a little game here. I'm gonna stop the video. I want to make a little game with you. This is my opening hand. We are against a Yorion deck. I just want you to look at this and think about your play. what your opponent could play since they show Yorion. And yeah, maybe write in the comment what is your play here, if you want to keep this hand, if you want to mulligan, if you keep this hand, what your playing it's gonna be. So yeah, I give you sometimes to stop the video and comment what your play is gonna be here. Okay, if you, I hope you maybe stop the video yourself, write the comment. I don't know, I'm very curious to see what your play is in this pot. So yeah, let's see what I did in this game. We are against a Yorion deck, so this probably means they are death and taxes. So Archon of Cruelty is kinda bad against death and taxes. So yeah, I decide to keep this sand. Use this Archon as a pitch for Griff. And they were indeed death and taxes with double solitude also. So yeah, I think against death and taxes this is the right play. Go for Serra Emissary and name creature. It will protect you from it will protect the life total from their creature attacks. It is a free third clock, and yeah, it is also protected from solitude. The only top deck is Sword to Plowshares here, but you know, it is an 80 card deck, so here the opponent still correctly played the game. Always play for your outs here. They go with the Caldra complete. Here I attack for little damage, but they correctly cast Solitude on their Caldra token. Very nice play, so they can leave one more hit here. They go down to 4. Here I also decided to cast the Lotus Petal, I think. No, I don't. I should have though, because of Talia. But yeah, they flicker their Caldra complete, so they can live one more turn if they have another white card to pitch with their second Solitude. And they do. They had the Lion Sash. So they go up to 9, take 7 damage, go down to 2 life. And still have one more draw to find a Sword to Plowshares. but they didn't. They tried. Yeah, always play for your outs. Against Death and Taxes, this is the sideboard from the sideboard guide from Darkview and Legacy Brewpub. It's pretty simple. 1 Totsis, 1 Archon out, and 2 Warrantier in. If you want to see the whole sideboard guide, as I said, you can just join the Reanimator Discord server. I will leave the link in the description box below. Okay, game 2 against Death and Taxes. Pretty bad hand, I didn't have mana. This one is kinda better, but I have no discard spell for their Grave Hate. But yeah, I decided to keep it anyway. As I said, if you win game 1, in game 2 you can just play the game just to see what your opponent play as Graveyard Hate. So yeah, here I go with Faithless Looting, try to find a discard spell for their maybe Surgical Extraction or Fairy Macabre. I did find Griff, but sadly I can't go all in here, since it is a mulligan to 6. I can't Griff them plus combo off. So yeah, I decided screw it, I go for the combo anyway, even without playing Griff. In fact, I indeed discard Griff, so if they had the Surgical for my Griselbrand, I could at least exhume a Griff. So yeah, here I go for the turn 1. Also they play 80 cards, so it is I mean, it is very hard to them to find the sideboard cards like Surgical or Fairy Macabre. So yeah, they're a bit infuriated for the matchup. It is a very hard matchup for Death and Taxes, but yeah, as I write to my opponent in game 2 and game 3, that deck usually have a lot of Graveyard Hate. So yeah, they have a Contain and Priest. I mean, it is a fair keep from their side with a turn to Talia, but yeah, Reanimator is a crazy deck. Most of the time just go for the turn 1 combo against them. If you don't see Leyline of the Void, just go for it if you can. So yeah, let's go to the next one. Okay, last match of the league. We are against M4. Interesting name. And they do play another Yorion deck. This hand is kinda nice with a double discard spell, but sadly I have no enablers. I mean, I can top deck a creature and discard it with a Totsis or Unmask. I can also top deck Entomb, which is another nice out here, but yeah, at the end I decided to to go for a turn 1, basically, since my opponent show Yorion, so it is probably another Death and Taxes deck. So when you see Yorion, you should usually go for the turn 1, basically. Also, do not be scared to mulligan a lot with this deck. This black-red version is very good to combo. Its strength is the speed to combo off. So by mulligan a lot, the London mulligan also helps a lot this deck. So by mulligan a lot, you can find very good turn 1 hands, like Dark Ritual, Entombment, and Exhum. So yeah, here I try to play around Wasteland and Thought System. They don't play Death and Taxes, so they play like a looks like a control deck. So yeah, at least we have time to rebuild our hand. And yeah, I top deck Entomb, which is very nice. I decided to not cast Entomb since they could have played Brainstorm in response, but yeah, with that Abundant Ground stack, I decided to go with Entomb anyway, even with that Brainstorm. But yeah, they decided to not cast the Brainstorm. Interesting. They probably want to keep that fetch land to shuffle away some bad card in their hand. But yeah, I will go for it, since I did find a land. I go for the animated dead for Griselbrand all the time here. Interesting. They chose to go with the plains instead of go for island for Brainstorm. They wanted to exile my Griselbrand, but I don't know, they probably should have tried to find a Force of Will with that Brainstorm instead of going with Sword to Plowshares, since I will still draw 14 cards and disrupt their hand, even with that Sword to Plowshares. I think a gamble on finding a Force of Will with Brainstorm was a better plan for them. Anyway, I can just go with Entomb, Reanimate for Archon of Cruelty. I did top deck Exhum, so I can go Entomb Exhum for another Archon of Cruelty and still grift them to take their Icefang Coatl. But I think my opponent, yeah, did concede with a double Archon on the field. Okay. Okay, against a blue Yorion pile, this is the sideboard from the Discord. So, Serra Emissary, Unmask, Animate Dead out on the draw, and put in free show and tell. This one is a pretty easy sideboard as well. Yeah, you can play Dismember for Containment Priest maybe, also Silence as a bait for Surgical Endurance or Force of Will, But yeah, I just wanted to respect as much as possible the sideboard guide. I open an interesting hand. I have a Grief plus Reanimate. I also have Exhume and Show and Tell. Yeah, I decided to keep this hand since I had those double discard spell in my hand. Also the opponent did mulligan very hard, mulligan to 4, so making this discard spell more stronger. So yeah, I lead with Grief, since I can also reanimate this Grief if I need. And the opponent chose a double counterspell spell. So yeah, I decide to take their Brainstorm here, leave them with Flusterstorm and Force of Will, since I can make them discard or just bait them with a reanimation spell. So those two counterspell are not a problem with this hand. Okay, I did find the white land. I needed the Underground Sea for this Show and Tell, but that's fine anyway. I can just bait their Flusterstorm with this Exhume, basically. Here I decided to go with Exhume for mana efficiency, but probably Reanimate was better, since Exhume can play around Endurance and Surgical Extraction. But yeah, I did find another Exhume. I go for the Grief beatdown here, also taking their Force of Will. But yeah, the opponent take a Yorion in their hand. I could have, if I did find a black card, I could have unmasked them and reanimate their Yorion, but I did top deck Entomb and go for Archon of Cruelty instead. So if the opponent still draw a card, try to find a Teferi or Sword Plowshare to deal with that Archon. But they didn't find anything and take the 12 damage. They go down to 2 life, but yeah, even with a removal spell here, they basically can't win the game. So yeah, I ended up with a 4-1 pretty nice league. I did pair up with 2 initiative deck. I can see why this deck is becoming more and more popular in the meta. Basically, the initiative engine is pretty strong. You just need 1 card to combo off. Basically, you just play your initiative creature, and once you take the initiative, that engine just play the game for yourself. So you can not play cards and still do stuff in your turn just by having the initiative. So it is a pretty crazy strategy, in my opinion. But yeah, it is still nice to see all those new decks joining the meta. So I think Reanimator is a pretty good combo deck that can easily do well even against those initiative crazy deck. By the way, yeah, I hope this video is useful. I hope to also to see you guys in the Reanimator Discord. It is a very nice community, as I said in the intro, so I hope you join there. I also hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.